on.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I didn't have us on there. What's up? Sorry, guys.
We're still not up, man. We
Oh, we
got
are now.
there we go.
I didn't have us turned on. Yeah, I like to leave that thumbnail up there just for a second.
Yeah, I got you, man. Hey, hit that sound. We have breaking news. Breaking news from Tinseltown. I want to be like one of those old school 50s reporters, guys. Guys, this just dropped on my Twitter feed. Maybe it's an old story, but it's breaking to us. So we're gonna hit that breaking news sounder. News has dropped about Avengers the Kang Dynasty. According to comicbookmovie.com, who they credit the original story to the Twitter account My Time to Shine with an H. I don't know. I don't get that handle, but anyway, the title is Avengers the Kang Dynasty's lead rumored to be Spider-Man.
Whoa!
After Tom Holland signs a new massive new quote unquote secret deal.
Spider-Man.
All right.
Yo, that is some breaking news. I mean, that you know what? This is some kismet because we're about to talk about the Kang Dynasty or the Kang the Man himself.
Yeah.
And this news just dropped. Also, hello, Derpy. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, no, this crap. All right. So real quick with the
Derpy, you're
Spider-Man.
gonna get a lot of honesty from this guy right here.
Yeah, you get honesty from me too. Just a lot of people don't agree with me. I'm one of those guys that I tend to enjoy more things than most people do. That's okay.
Well, he is a
I
happy guy.
I like living. I
Yeah,
like to
he's a
be
happy
happy.
guy. I'm
Uh,
bitter,
yes.
and the rest of the internet is bitter along with me, Bobo. So you need to either link up with us or You are
No,
you are you know what, you do find your joy in movies, and I think it's part of because you're creative, you can just see things and enjoy things that we are not going to see.
and I've made videos about this. That doesn't mean that I will recommend things and tell people that this is an Oscar or whatever. But to me, I'm also a big believer of judging something on what it's going for and what it's supposed to be. And I have a lot of friends that are like, "Bro, that wasn't as good as Goodfellas," and it's like, but it wasn't trying to be that. So like, let us have fun with it. That's my thing. But
Bias Bob. Ooh, that may
yeah,
be coming back.
there you go, Derpy. That's fine. You can say that.
Hey, I mean, I will say, I look at things from a perspective of a writer, and so I'm very unforgiving if the story doesn't meet up to my expectations. Whereas you, a director, and my old co-host Cleasy, who wants to be a director, is the same way. Good visuals and good directing will make up for a ton of flaws for both of you because you enjoy you know the art, and so you can see things and enjoy things that, like I said, the rest of us can't enjoy. But we'll shelve that for a little bit. Let's talk about this breaking news that just dropped.
For
What are
sure.
your thoughts on this rumor about Tom Holland being the lead dog, Spider-Man versus Kang?
Uh, First off, I wouldn't have expected that being like Spider-Man being the main like hero fighting Kang. Like that's not something that I read a whole lot in the comics.
Mhm.
Not saying that it never had happened, but I'm just saying that's not a common rogues gallery type of guy for Spider-Man. However, they haven't really gone that way necessarily all the time in the movie in the MCU. They've kind of woven their own little path. And I've said this from the beginning, and if you go back and listen to any of some of my old school news stuff that I did when I was just doing it by myself, or if any of my friends have heard me talk about this, even when Spider-Man, they were announcing the whole Sony departure from Disney right after Far From Home was released.
Mhm.
They were like, well, our tenure's done. Well, all that was too much news getting out too fast before contracts were just re-signed. They
Yeah.
knew that they needed to move forward with Spider-Man together. They had too much of a moneymaker. They'd be idiots not to. So I said it before that. I was like, Spider-Man ain't done. And then I've been calling out this whole like 9-picture deal with Disney. And that was a rumor that was spread a long time ago, but from somebody that I felt that was reliable. It was somebody that I watched on YouTube.
Mhm.
But I do believe that we're going to see Spider-Man in other movies, and we're going to see 3 more Spider-Man movies in a Spider-Man trilogy. That's going to be much more of him in his college years, becoming the teacher, stuff like that. And he's going to be in other movies still, other Avengers things and all that. And I also believe that we're going to have a trilogy of him as an adult with Parker Industries matching up with Reed Richards, because Reed Richards at that point will be established with Fantastic Four. So I do believe amongst him showing up in other films, we will have 9 solo Spider-Man movies.
How about this, Bobo? You're talking a lot of good talk about a lot of good positive things that could come out. You threw in potential for some of the Doc Ock Spider-Man. Name is escaping me at the moment, but Parker Industries is spun off of that, right? Um, but there's another Spider-Man story that could pop up from all of this that is not exactly beloved. Spider-Man One More Day. What if Kang plays Mephisto in this situation and tries to bring back Aunt May, tries to tempt Spider-Man to bring back Aunt May?
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. And, I'm not surprised that they're still going with Spider-Man, but he's gonna be the only sort of kinda street level-ish hero working along in this sort of future of cosmic Marvel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think a lot of this also has the fact to do with they feel like Tom Holland, first of all, has got a lot of years left, you know? Um,
Of course,
and
that
so
was part of the reason to sign him so young.
yeah, I mean, a lot of their actors are kind of older, right? They're kind of getting long in the tooth. So Spider-Man's a young actor, so it's like, hey, let's tie these movies around him. People love Spider-Man. Tom Holland fits that role perfectly like a glove. And Spider-Man's a guy that you can have a lot of fun with and have him be this hero, but still kind of keep it lighthearted. Also,
He's gone through a lot in the comics. He really
yeah,
has.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's interesting. I guess Tom Holland will still be living in my brother's building for a while longer. That means so. You know,
Oh, I didn't realize that was a thing.
yeah, yeah. My brother lives in the same building as Tom. Of course, Tom's got the penthouse. My brother don't have the penthouse. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah, that's cool, dude. We need to get this channel pumping, people, so we can actually get up there with those guys.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
But yeah,
no, I'm excited about this though, dude, for real.
I am
So,
as well. I am as well. There's not a lot of other details, so I mean, I don't really have a lot to add to the story. But why don't you guys comment below and tell me if you think there are some good stories out there that are Spider-Man or Kang stories that they'll be able to pull from for this movie, right? Because obviously it's going to be Secret Wars. We know they're pulling for Secret Wars. More than likely, they're pulling from the Jonathan Hickman run of Secret Wars, which Bobo, you haven't read, right?
no, I have not.
Bro.
Like I said, I pretty much like with the occasional thing of like reading some graphic novels here and there or keeping up with like a run of something but I'd always buy it after it was already out. I was pretty much out of the regular day game after Civil War.
Listen, man, go to your comic book shop and buy everything that is trade paperback Jonathan Hickman. Jonathan Hickman's the guy that wrote Secret Wars. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest comic book writer of all time, in my opinion. He tops everybody. Don't give me Claremont, because Claremont wrote some trash there at the end. Don't give me Frank Miller. Frank Miller also wrote some trash there at the end.
You're right. I mean, they had their heydays for sure. But
Hickman is the only guy I know that can do multiple runs on several different comics and somehow tie them all together beautifully.
no, you've talked his praises for a while.
Yeah. And Secret Wars is definitely something that you probably want to read before watching the movie, because I doubt they'll do the same thing. So I don't think it'll ruin the movie for you.
I definitely like that's actually something on my list. I will 100% read that. I'll subscribe to the Marvel online thing for a month and just plow through it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for Secret Wars, but the excitement was kind of muted after watching Ant-Man. So let's get into it. Derpy, if you're still there, we're about to talk this movie. Now, Baba, you dropped a review.
So yeah, look,
we'll go check out.
This is a spoiler review we're about to get in, guys. We are going to go into a lot of discussions about what we didn't like about it, specifics of the plot, ending, post credits, all that stuff. So if you haven't seen this, but you do want to hear, kind of the opinion on it, I did do a review, which is on the channel. So check it out there. It's like 8 minutes. But as of right now, we're talking about it right here on the channel. Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler review. So first of all, you and I haven't had a chance to talk. You enjoyed the movie, and so did I as well, correct? What'd you end up giving it score-wise, just for the people that don't know?
I gave it real decent.
And I agree. I thought it was real decent as well. Now, it's one that I'm putting an asterisk by because depending on what happens coming out of this movie, I may lower or raise that grade. I don't know. Did you feel the same way?
I feel like that, yes, there's two things about this that are making it feel in limbo and also that made it not as powerful as it could have been. One thing is the ending and the way it was just like, all right, there is a slight cliffhanger-ish vibe there, but not as much as I would want to be to where I'm like,
yeah,
and then the fact that he wasn't built up like Thanos. Thanos was built up for years, whether it be post-credit scenes, beginning of the first Avengers.
It could have been though, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Was so great.
But we only saw him in Loki, and then we see him in this. And if we would have had more of that, like 6 years of hearing about Kang in the movies, then when we finally see him, it would have felt like with the first time we saw Thanos.
Okay, so we'll talk when we talk about the ending. We'll go into this because I think they could have saved it, but unfortunately, the writers got no balls, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's start from the first part of the movie. We're not going to go at scene by scene, but I do want to say that I thought the first part of the movie moved a little too quick. I
They
thought,
they jumped right into the quantum zone.
yeah, and it almost made Cassie annoying. First of all, I hate how writers do this in superhero movies. They're bailing her out of jail, but why is she in jail? Oh, because she was protesting injustice. That's just fucking cheesy, man. That's so cheesy.
Yeah, I mean,
Either she's a troublemaker, not a troublemaker. Make up your mind.
right, right. At least, Flash was up to no good in Justice League.
Yeah.
And then finally, Billy Crudup convinces him do something good, and then he starts doing something good and working for a criminal thing or whatever. But yeah, this one, it was like on the fence, be or not be. Did you like her though as Cassie? Do you think she added anything to it?
I didn't like her performance at all. I mean, like, I got nothing against the actress. I think a lot of that had to do with the material. Also, I noticed at times, especially the beginning, her facials when it came to the green screen, like there was a lot of smiling in scenes where she wasn't supposed to be smiling. I think it was just tough for her to act to that green screen.
First time type stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I said in my review that it was just the continuity. Like, I don't see any reason they wouldn't have used the other girl unless she just looked too much like a woman now, Oh God.
We'll get to that.
I should have known that the other person watching was Ezzy. Hey, yeah, how are you doing?
Ezzy? It's funny because I was going to watch a documentary on YouTube today about Afro Man, the song "Because I Got High."
Hey, that guy's from my town, my hometown.
Is he? Yeah. Well, I got five seconds in, and then Kevin Smith popped up, and I was like, "Done. I'm done. I'm out of this." I forgot he was in that goddamn video.
Oh, but dude, you got to hear the one by him called "Let's All Get Drunk Tonight." It's hilarious. Let's all get drunk tonight.
By Afro Man?
Yeah. I hope I don't fight with a punk tonight.
Afro Man had some grooves, man. He
was
he
cool.
He should have been more than one hit wonder. But
he was cool. His whole album was good, but he only had like 2 hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Because I Got High was the main one.
Yeah. So speaking of getting high, dude, this movie would have been fun to watch tripping balls because the visuals were awesome.
Yeah, the visuals were great, and thank God that it definitely felt. Yes, there were moments that I could catch here and there, like, all right, there's a there's a LED screen moment. I see it, but those were usually on close-up shots.
Yeah.
But when they were doing the vast shots of them in things, and like you could see like 5 of them at a time, way better than Thor: Love and Thunder. Like Thor:
100%.
Love and Thunder was so bad.
Now, yeah, to go back to the beginning of what we were talking about, they did jump right in the quantum realm a little too quick, and I thought that it kind of made the first act. It didn't work for me because of that. It's like they just kind of introduced everything real rapid fire, and all of a sudden,
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Cassie's a genius. Like how did that happen?
Right.
How did she become Tony Stark?
I agree. I don't like it when they do that. Just, oh yeah, and by the way,
I can send a signal to quantum zone. What? And how does your dad not even know that you're this smart?
And where did you get it from? Where it's like your dad's sort of a doofus. He could just pick locks, and he's like quick and he's a little nimble, but he's kind of a doofus. He gets caught and busted a lot, you know? So yeah.
I think they should have made Cassie just a troublemaker, and then I think we'd be willing to forgive the fact that she's a genius, because a lot of times geniuses are kind of detached and and can be troublemakers when they're young. But her being the whole bailing her out, like, oh, I was protesting, and then like everybody's taking her side while Scott's trying to lecture her. It's like, shut the F up, man. This is my daughter.
I agree.
I could lecture my daughter if I need to, if I'm just bailing her out of jail. I don't care if she's protesting.
And he's free now. He doesn't have to do anything with any sort of law stuff anymore. In fact, it shows him and what's his name chilling and having coffee. But as far as them jumping in too quick and everything and making her a genius, I kind of felt like, what do you say, Batgirl can redirect the satellites from the Congo to Gotham.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Also, what up, Andrew? When are we going to do this Patreon episode, son?
Yeah. Him and I are going to see Cocaine Bear in a couple nights.
The
next night. You should get your ticket and go see it. We can do a 3-way. What?
Yeah.
No, but what I was going to say about her being a genius, to me, same complaint. And I didn't really mention this in the review about her, but same complaint on that is it was with Riri Williams and Wakanda Forever. Like, just all of a sudden, these little kids are just like smarter than
Well,
the.
with Riri, at least she's going to MIT, you know?
Yeah, they just threw it
Eh,
in too fast, you know?
but I mean, that's kind of her whole vibe is like that from the moment they introduced her, we didn't meet Riri when she was a kid, you know?
So, this better than Wakanda or this better or worse than Wakanda?
No, worse than Wakanda.
You think so, huh?
Yeah, holy oh hell yeah, yeah.
I
Well, I
I
mean,
I felt like it was more MCU-ish. I felt like it was more I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed the pace of it more than Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever had some moments where it would dip and it got a
Wakanda
little
Forever at least feels like a Phase 4 movie. This felt like a Phase 2 movie. It felt like we were regressing.
You
And
think so?
I mean, like, I didn't hate the movie. Like I said, I'll give it like a 6.5. It's really decent, right? And I think the second act is where it kind of takes off. When we go to the quantum realm, we get those great visuals. Everybody gets split up. We meet an interesting cast of characters. What do you think about Bill Murray's performance?
It was alright, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't he didn't really make me laugh all that much or anything, and then he just kinda he sort of became a bad guy pretty quickly, you know? Um,
It was brief, but from I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was a nice little cameo. It got the job done that
yeah,
needed to get.
it wasn't bad, but I was expecting a little bit more comedy.
And well, that's one of my problems with this movie, Bobo. And Jeremy Johns, shouts to him because he phrased it perfectly. Marvel has a problem with making everybody comic relief. Everybody's got to be quippy. Everybody's got to be goofy. It's too much. Now they do tone it down for this movie, especially compared to
But
Thor.
I think that's Disney, though. I think that's Disney trying to push that on them.
Just stop. Just stop with all that. You know, we don't need the guy that's a sidekick. That dude. So many of the jokes in this movie in the theater I was in fell completely flat. They just fell to silence.
It worked alright where I was, but I mean, I mean, I felt like the humor was still there a little bit, especially, like, with that little flubbery and I don't have a picture of him, but that little gooey dude that was like, "I want some holes." You didn't like
So
that guy?
cringe. That was like fifth grade humor, man.
I thought it was funny, man. It made me
You do
laugh.
like some fifth grade humor, though.
Come on, I'm not I don't like 5th grade humor. It was
Uh,
funny.
you like fart jokes.
Yeah, dude. Hey, dude, I do like fart jokes. In fact, there you go.
Bill Murray in the trailer is why I ain't watching this. Ha ha. Come on,
As
man.
Maniac's not watching any more Marvel movies, so he said
Yeah,
he's done.
the jokes aren't that great, but as Maniac, they don't overdo it on the jokes. You don't get that many of them.
No, it has a more serious tone than the
Yeah.
previous 2 films for sure. Um, you know, I did like the fact that it was kinda like everybody was the main character. It wasn't just focusing on Scott. What is he saying? That was not
Yeah.
the same Cassie.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, Andrew. We were just talking about
Yeah.
how did she become a genius? When did this happen? Yeah.
Yeah, we just didn't care for that. And again, I don't like the
And
even
honestly, once again, sorry to interrupt, Andrew. It's okay if she's rebellious, but not she's rebellious, but with a heart of gold. Screw that. Either you're rebellious, or you're not. Like, and we're gonna get into this when we get to the ending. Bobo and I kind of previewed this. My complaint about it, but my ending has to do with this point, and that's why I'm hammering it home because we will come back to this, and that's why I think the writing in this movie fails. Is you either go all the way or you don't go at all. But go on. I'm sorry, Bobo. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just basically saying, like, we remember the Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo just all of a sudden switched. Same thing with
Yeah.
Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle. Not that those didn't work. They worked fine. They were great. In fact, I would have preferred them just to be it the whole time. But switching like that, and when the people don't even look alike, like, it's like, come on, you
Yeah.
guys, like, I get it, but why are you just and I understand there was things going on behind the scenes between Ed Norton and Terrence Howard and all that, but with this girl, she was even like, "Yeah, they didn't even call me." Emma Furman is her name, the girl that played her in Endgame.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she said they didn't even call me. So, like, and again, maybe she just looked too much like a woman. Maybe she had, like, gotten taller and,
Mhm.
like, was taller because she was already Paul Rudd's height.
Yeah.
So maybe they wanted somebody that was shorter than him, but even then, she's not.
Is this girl been in anything else? Is she a name?
Yeah, she was so that movie Freaky with Vince Vaughn.
Okay, that's why she's in this. She's probably got a good agent. They probably know somebody. Emma knows what the game is up. She's just trying to throw a pity party. And she's right. She's right too from our perspective, but she knows how Hollywood be. This
Yeah,
girl
I
got
mean,
the role
and I
because she got
get it.
connections.
I get it, but was this a selling point for the movie, her being in it? Would Emma Furman being the Cassie that
No, it's
we
not about selling point. It's about the fact that her agent probably knows a producer and got her in it.
I guess what I'm saying is though it's like, but from a continuity storytelling perspective, like if that's the case, then just recast everybody.
Yeah, but
Because
that's what we care about. They don't care about that. We care about that. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I don't even remember the girl from that played her in the other movie. So that was a big deal to me. I didn't like, and as man, we're gonna get to why this movie failed. Listen, man, we gotta layer it in. We got some time to kill. So I can't just give you all 3 points right now. How are you gonna keep watching? If I just give you the ending right now. Come on, Ez.
yeah, we're talking about the whole thing.
I think it's just disgusting that they would
See,
change
thank
it.
you. Thank you. I'm not the only one that feels that way.
And what worked so well for previous films was that was small scale movies interacting with things in our world. Now they're giant, but I understand this movie needs to be bigger scale. I didn't think that was an issue. I like the Quantum Zone stuff, and I thought that it was a good character to go into the Quantum Zone. Once again, the special effects good. Let's talk about the main person we get introduced to in Act 2. That was the main reason to see this film. Jonathan Majors Kang. Dude, right off the bat, from the moment we see him in a flashback sequence to when we're introduced to him, to Scott Lang, he is everything that I've wanted in Marvel villain.
No, he was great. His delivery is awesome.
Yes.
I said this in my review. We've all known he was good. But like you said, it was just finally good to see him talking, be who he was, the emotional, weight that he put behind the character, the way they incorporated him with Janet, I thought was pretty smart, man. I kind of like the idea of like us sort of finding out something that we didn't know that was there from the beginning. And sort of that kind of ties something back to the first movie. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was cool. That's something I didn't really see. It fits Kane in there well without him being shoehorned in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Agreed. He was terrifying. He was a terrifying villain. You bought that this dude was a badass that could crush the Avengers and kill Thor or whatever.
When she's figuring out like the moment when they're trying to fix the core, and then finally she sees everything and she's figuring it out, and he's looking at her. Dude, I love that. He's got this look where he's like, he's in his head, he's thinking, it's like, yeah, she knows.
Yeah. Everything he says is very measured and his delivery is very slow. And it works because in his mind, you can see that he's thinking of something. Also, he does a good job of teasing the fact that this character has a painful backstory. We never get into it. And I'll be pissed if we never get into it. And why I'm saying that, obviously, those of you watching this movie have probably been spoiled. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But they better bring him back, and we better find out more about him, because you could tell just by his performance, and this is how good an actor this guy is, just by facials, by the way he delivers his line, you can tell there's a backstory for this character without him having to spill that there's a backstory. He doesn't need to give us some sort of monologue about why, a hint at why he's doing the things he's doing. It's just kind of known through his performance. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. And, just for everybody that, just for Esmaniac and Andrew and all those, if you guys didn't hear the beginning, Derpy, I think you did, but Andrew and Esmaniac, Spider-Man is going to be in this new contract now with Marvel, has signed like a major contract, and he's going to be the like main lead in the new Kang Dynasty film.
Tom Holland signed that contract. If Spider-Man signed that contract, that would be really big news.
Tom Holland signed it as Spider-Man, and I'm trying to download a picture of him as we speak. That's why I'm stumbling my words. But anyways, we know that he's going to be back. Obviously, he's got a movie named after him, all that stuff, and we'll talk about.
But we do have different versions of Kang. So,
but I want to get these guys' comments while they're here to what they think about Tom Holland just signing this 9-movie picture and going to have a team up with Kang and see what he's going to be talking about. So that's the only reason I mentioned it.
Marvel must be seriously worried. I don't know
that
what
they're signing Spider-Man. Why? Because I think that's smart.
To need Spider-Man back, dude. Spider-Man's money.
Spider-Man. It was always known that he's going to be sticking around.
That's like saying
getting rid of him.
That's like saying the United States is worried because Benjamin Franklin's on the $100 bill, man. Like Spider-Man he's might as well be the $100 bill of Marvel. That's just printing money. That's just smart business, in my opinion.
And he works well with other characters too. So like, I think that, and what I was saying is that for the longest time, and Ezzy, that I said this before, but they're going to there'll be 9 Spider-Man films total. Mark my words.
Yeah. I mean, he's still young enough. I mean, listen, you can have Tobey Maguire going to high school when he's 45 for the first Spider-Man movie. You could milk some Tom Holland years.
Well, the rumor now is that Garfield is going to be in Venom 3.
Is he?
That's the rumor. There's no confirmation on that, but that's like the word around the campfire.
Does he just like doing Marvel movies that aren't good
I think
outside
that,
of Marvel?
well, I think that either that or that I think they're just trying to give him as like part 3. So maybe it'll be like
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 3 Venom or something like that. I don't know. But I also think that they're going to try to incorporate all that into Secret War because I bet they're all 3 going to be back in Secret War somehow.
Yeah,
All 3 Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire wants to come back because I
Yeah.
mean, what else
So
is he
did
gonna do?
Andrew said he would.
Yeah,
So yeah, let's do
and
it.
Andrew loves the character.
Mm-hmm.
So
But anyways, I am for you guys. I just wanted to mention that again because I am curious to see how they're going to pair up Spider-Man and Kang. The Ant-Man and the Quantumanium thing that works out. That makes sense a little more with Ant-Man being able to get small and mess with you like that and all that. But like the Spider-Man and Kang, just curious to see how that's going to go down. Is he going to have a black suit? Is he going to have a symbiote suit? Is that going to help him? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think the way
that's
this movie ended really does lead into like the next time we see this Kang, I bet is going to be in Secret War, not in Kang Dynasty.
we might as well jump into that. So the movie ends. First of all, I had major problems with this ending. Bobo, I'm gonna go off on this ending. So why don't we let you go first and talk about the problems you had about this ending?
My only problem was kind of essentially what you were saying is putting a line in there like at the end, and you see it in the trailer where Paul Rudd says, "I don't have to win, we just both have to lose." And then basically he kind of he doesn't kill Ant-Man, but he beats him. And it just to me, like just Anshul said too, it takes the gravity away from it. This thing that could have been like like something that happens, like for example, in game, like when it happens, you're like, oh snap, oh no,
Yeah,
like
that's
something like
why
that would have worked.
yeah. So that's what I was telling Bobo is like, listen, when you did Endgame and the heroes lost, you introduced consequences to Marvel movies. You can't put that genie back in the bottle now. You can't go back to phase 2. Everything is heroes save the day at the end. I mean, hell, to be honest, they introduced that with the Winter Soldier, consequences at the end of the movies, but they really
Sure.
hammered home with Avengers with the heroes actually losing.
Or Civil War, Downey Jr. being pissed at Cap at the end and like, no,
Yeah.
screw you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So, and to put it back first, that's lazy writing. The writing team, you got no fucking balls. You got no guts. You're going to throw that line in there and then go with a happy ending. That's hack. You're hacky as fuck for doing that.
yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, listen, how much better would it be if Ant-Man actually did lose something? Like I was telling you, like we get Hope coming back to save him, right? Oh, what if Hope disappears along with Kang? You can always bring her back. You don't have to kill off the character.
Right.
And then you can bring her back in a more powerful way. The Hope character, honestly, is bland. She's got nothing going for her. Janet is the lady that was in the quantum realm. Hank's the actual genius. Ant-Man is the actual hero. What is Hope? She's an extra character. We need something for her to do. Have her sacrifice herself. That's why Scott Lang says this line. He thinks he's going to be the one to sacrifice himself. In the end, he loses Hope. So it really does truly feel like a defeat for Scott. He wins at the end. He vanquishes the villain, but he loses something that's very important to him.
Sure.
That brings a lot of weight to that ending, and he's going to have to carry that forward.
He's not in a good mood by the time the credits are rolling.
And then you bring this Kang back, which you better bring this Kang back because this Kang was awesome.
He was.
I'm going to be really pissed if you don't bring this Kang back. You can also bring back Hope in the same way and have her be the Deus Ex Machina that helps them win at the end. A lot of people theorize that Kang's going to get exiled to the quantum field that Hope and Scott get trapped in for a little bit, come back more powerful. Well, maybe Hope has the same thing happen, and she's able to come back and at least get a temporary power up that helps her save the day. And you finally did something worthwhile with the character, other than just saying, "Oh, she's female and she's."
There's a rise and a fall, and there's an arc there. Yeah, I personally just thought that what was happening in the ending scene and the fight scene and all that was great. Like the way
he's beating Scott down
and everyone else at the same time.
Yeah, it's all tense because you think, dude, he's about to kill this dude.
And I'm not even saying that Scott needed to die, but it needed to just be something to where he lost,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mentioned that to Bobby because he wanted to fight this one in the quantum realm. Should have some consequences. Yeah.
Yeah.
How lame was it too when you have your villain that you built up to be a badass, throw a diss at Scott saying, I'm Conquer Time. you're just some dude that talks to ants, and then he literally almost gets killed by ants.
Well, okay, so at first I don't think that like I think that was one thing he didn't suspect happening. He just wasn't really calculating that. I don't think that he's somebody that's like Thanos that can like snap his fingers and do all these things with everything. But I do I do think he has to be sort of like having the controller in his hand, meaning that he has to make sure that he's on it. But like at that point, I think it was just sort of like a swarm. I bought it. I thought it was.
I think listen, I get it. They're intelligent ants. It's an army of ants. It is kind of lame. It's lame way for a villain. Lame way for a villain to go out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Defeated by ants.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that they didn't feed him. They just became a nuisance and they held him back. They allowed him to not do what he was going to
Yeah,
do.
no, he does come back. But at the time when I thought he got defeated by ants, I was like, this, because like I said, I wanted this villain to be a badass. This villain needed to be a badass. And for the majority of his screen time in Act 2, he's a menacing badass.
No, he is. And look, I wanted the ending to be different. I did. But that doesn't. But yeah, but like, I'm kind of thinking and changing my mind as I'm talking. You're right. It does make a difference on what these next movies do for the way that I'm going to feel. So like if the next movies bring him back and he's just like, oh, y'all just screwed up, then it's going to be like, all right, yeah. And then he's like on top and keeps on going forward. And I just need to see some unhappy endings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be unhappy. Once again, you need consequences. I mean, Scott can defeat Kang and also lose hope, and literally.
Well,
and
that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have
right?
to die.
Yeah.
It's just unhappy. It doesn't have to be, all right.
Oh, look, we're at a birthday party.
Yeah.
It's Cassie's birthday. Oh, but it's not really her birthday. We're just trolling her. Aren't we witty and funny?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
But yeah, you're right though. Like the effects and everything, all of it. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, by the way, how much did you hate celebrating people's birthdays when you were a server? Whenever somebody's like, "Oh, it's so and so's birthday," weren't you always like, "You son of a bitch"?
Yeah, probably top 3 things that I hate in life, actually,
Yeah.
because that really was. It's like because you're already like ready to go and everything.
Yeah.
You're just trying to. Oh, hey, by the way, it's their birthday. You're like,
did you ever work at a really corporate restaurant where you had to do some cheesy birthday song?
no,
The goose you guys didn't sing, right?
no, we refused to.
Yeah.
The goose, you could be pricks,
Yeah.
dude. It was great, but no, like Outback when I worked there for years, they just wanted you to sing Happy Birthday. You know what I mean? They didn't want you to do some sort of like
happy birthday for bending is to you.
Yeah, they didn't want you to do any of that. But yeah, I hated singing Happy Birthday. And I don't even remember a birthday party at the end of this movie. I just do remember it being happier than I wanted it to be because it ends like it starts with him like walking down the street and everything.
Yeah, I know. He goes to Dale to get that. So I watched at the Alamo Draft House. So they started the movie off with a fake movie review by the character Dale. The character Dale's the manager who fires him from
Baskin Robbins.
And he does this fake YouTube show where he reviews the movie, and then we see him at the end. So that's why I was able to recognize the character. And he gives him that birthday cake that he made himself. As I came out of cake retirement,
and he's like, "Oh God,
yeah."
Real quick, we haven't touched on this at all. So this is something you did not like, and this is something that I did like about the movie.
Oh God.
Well, we have to talk about it. He's in the whole movie.
No, we do have to talk about. I don't understand how you can like this, Bobo. There are times where I doubt that you're not just a Russian bot. Sometimes I think you're a bot from the Kremlin trying to ruin movies for everybody.
MODOK worked for me. All right?
MODOK was the worst thing that has ever been on movie screens, possibly ever.
So okay, that means that was it. It wasn't MODOK the way it happened. It was totally just the look, right? That's what you didn't like.
Yeah, that when he had the helmet off. I was telling Bobby this. For some of you that had old school TV, sometimes you had to like play with the vert and the horizontal on your TV. And if you play with the vertical too much, it stretched out the image. That's what MODOK's face looked like. Like, how can you spend that much money, have such awesome special effects, and drop the ball on MODOK like that? He looked like a screen that had been stretched out. I'm about
to try to pull him up here, and we'll see. It looks like somebody took a screenshot in the theater of this because I was able to find it. So let me see if I can put this in here. To me, I felt like it was sort of the result of him going through the quantum thing with the suit that he had, and he was already like getting big and getting small. And that's just what I felt about it. And that is how they explained it. But I really enjoyed the comical route that they took with it, man. It I say it in the trailer. It's like it just worked for me.
Until the very
In
end.
the review,
Those
sorry.
lines where he at the very end where he's like, "I'm glad I got to die Avenger," blah blah blah. That's the first time the audience laughed in the theater I was in.
Yeah,
None of
see
the other jokes hit until then.
see, yeah, my audience was actually they were getting a kick out of it. They were enjoying it. Um, I've almost got an image of him here pulled up, guys. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to find him. So here um, so this is I'm gonna show you the MODOK that that's in the actual trailer, which I thought, looked cool. It was like, oh, cool. They're making sort of a menacing kind of mech warrior MODOK. Sweet. And then when he takes his mask off, he looks like
Look
this.
how stupid that looks.
I think it looks funny. Yes. But I didn't think it looked like, well, first off, we're in the quantum zone. Everything in there is not real and unreal looking. But I thought that
Yeah,
his
but
face
that's
got all
everything
jacked
looks
up.
sharp and clear. And once again, it looks like bad special effects. It looks like something from the Scorpion King.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't bother me. Maybe see, I kind of found a lot of that maybe part of the humor. I don't know. That they were showing that he's just because every time everybody saw him, they were just like, oh, and it only happened when he opened it, because they saw his legs and arms and everything when he had the helmet on, but when he opened it, they're like, what the
My
Darren?
biggest disappointment is we didn't get a baby arm joke for all you ticket P ones.
Yes.
But yeah, I
That's
thought
hilarious.
I thought he looked like trash. I mean, honestly, they just threw MODOK in there for the fanboys. Now
Well,
that
it
it's
was
done, we don't
Darren.
have to see this stupid character again. And MODOK is a dumbass character. Let's be real.
Oh, it is. And that's what I talk about in my review. I was like, some writers in the comics have portrayed him as villainous sometimes and menacing occasionally, but most of the time they kind of portray him as a loser, like not somebody that is regarded as don't worry about that guy. It's just MODOK, more of a
Yeah,
nuisance than a villain.
I've seen him in a lot of Hulk movies. By the way, we get a small reference to a character from Incredible Hulk lore.
What was that?
Gentora, I believe she was supposed to be Jarella.
I'm not
Jarella was the first love interest of the Incredible Hulk, not Bruce Banner. The Incredible Hulk got
right.
exiled the microverse and had a.
So you're talking about the girl with the tats and everything and the badass.
Yeah.
So one of these people right here.
Yep, she's part of that. Like when they go to that village, right? She's the one that's the head of that, and then she gets taken by Kang's army. Yeah, I think Darren was a surprise return character that Bobo promised us.
Yeah, no, I knew they were going to have somebody that was definitely Darren.
What a letdown!
It worked for me. I thought it was funny. I'm not saying that it was just like, dude, that was amazing. I was satisfied because I knew that Kevin Feige had kept on talking about how MODOK's going to be in the MCU. At some point, we're going to incorporate him. And to me, I was like, all right, this is the way to do it. It was funny.
That was lame. It was lame, man. It looked awful. It looked so bad.
And
Russian
again,
bot Bobo strikes again.
Funny to me. What'd you say?
Russian bot Bobo strikes again.
There you go. What am I, biased Bob?
Yeah, man. Overall, though, I'm gonna say this: we just spent a lot of time trashing this movie. There were some good things. Kang is great. I mean, yeah, I hate how he went out at the end, and they better bring this version of Kang back. By the way, I guess we got to talk about the post-credit scenes, right?
Yeah. So this is huge spoiler as far as moving past this film and like openings into the future of the MCU. There's definitely 2 post-credit scenes that are really cool. Did you have one that you liked more? I mean, most people do.
The Loki one.
Yeah. I was wondering, are we going to see Loki in this movie? And then when the credits are going up, I was like, damn, dude, I was really kind of hoping there'd be some sort of interaction, something. And then at the end, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. Because we see Loki and Owen Wilson's character. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
It's Owen Wilson's character. I don't remember it either.
From the show Loki. And that was cool. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Now,
so they're at some sort of conference. It looks like it's in the early 1900s. You see this kind of steampunk machine in the background on the stage as this guy's giving this presentation, and the person giving the presentation is Jonathan Majors. He's got a mustache and a wig that makes him look like Frederick Douglass. But behind him, you see a sign that has his name stated as Victor Timely.
So two fun things right there.
Mhm.
Was that his name at one point in the comics, Victor Timely?
Victor Timely is a variant of Kang, and I think
Okay.
he's one of the lesser known, lesser written about variants, right?
So,
A lot
before
of
it
these
was Marvel.
variants, like some of the ones we saw, like a Mortis and all them, they're retcon variants. They start out as their own characters. Retcon and Raw Matut in particular, who we see in the
Right.
other post
Right,
credit
right,
scenes,
right.
they started as their own other characters and they got retconned into being Kang.
And it
But
can be
Victor Timely was an actual written as a variant of Kang. Yeah.
gotcha. Well, yeah, I was curious as to is this Kang that we saw in Ant-Man 3?
I hope so, because that'd be a way to bring him back, right?
Right. So
Um,
that's kind of the rumor going around that was the Kang from Ant-Man 3. But it was cool seeing all the other Kangs and all those variants. And one of them looked like it was like a voodoo variant type thing, the one that was like talking like this and his
so that's
eyes
a
were all
Mortis.
okay. So what is that? Because I've said from the beginning, I know that Kang's a badass, and I've read him here and there, but I'm not super familiar with his history.
Okay, so we're going to the first post credit scene for those of you that are following along at home. So the first post credit scene we see, we find out that our Kang in this Ant-Man was exiled by other Kangs because he was too wild, too much of a wild card. They couldn't beat him. So of course he gets taken down by ants. But yeah, so we meet the other three Kangs because they've been able to somehow sense that this dangerous Kang is dead, and so they meet. And it's apparently the three Kangs that are the most powerful Kang variants. One of them is a Mortis. Mortis is a comic book character that was another time traveling villain. It was supposed to be the villain that is at the end of the timeline that works along with the timekeepers, and eventually that villain was retconned into being a version of Kang, and that's kind of how he's gone forward, as being a version of Kang. Avengers Forever is a good story featuring both Kang and Immortus that a lot of people can reference. Go to your local comic book shop, tell them we sent you. They won't know who we are, but just tell them anyway, and pick up some back issues of Avengers Forever and read more about Kang, or go to Comics Explained. It's got a great video on it. Then we have Rama Tut. Rama Tut is another villain. Was in Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four go back in time, meet the Pharaoh Rama Tut, who happens to be a time traveler who has a lot of weaponry. And later on, they recant that into being a version of Kang. Also, Rama Tut very closely tied with the origin of Apocalypse.
Oh, nicely. So
Yeah,
we will see the proper version of Apocalypse one day,
hopefully,
hopefully.
yeah.
Now, what about the one that was in the sort of like cyborgish
So
look?
nobody knows. I've tried to read because I didn't recognize that one. I tried to look it up. A lot of people are assuming that that's going to be the Kang version that's tied into a character named Iron Lad. Iron Lad is a member of the Young Avengers, and it's the first big swerve we get in that comic book when the Young Avengers are released. All the Young Avengers, we don't exactly know what their ties are to the superheroes, right? That they're intimidating. So one of them is Cassie Lang, and then we find out that Cassie Lang is the daughter of Scott Lang later on. That's why she's now Staturette, which is basically Giant Girl. Then we meet a couple others who are a young Thor and a young Hulkling, and we find out
Which is
we
basically going to be Sakaar, right?
no, it's not. This is way before Scar.
No, I'm saying, but the way they're incorporating the MCU is
Maybe
basically
I think they end up being Wanda's children though in the Young Avengers.
Hmm.
Well, actually, I think Hulkling is a Skrull, and then
That's right. That's right.
Asgardian, who's the Thor, is actually one of Wanda's children. And then yes, there's a Quicksilver version who is also one of Wanda's children.
Look, it's getting a little too much now.
Yeah.
Like when they're doing this in the movies now, like some things from the comics don't need to translate to the film. Like if
Well, yeah, let's skip ahead. Let's
going
skip ahead
crazy-
to what we're getting to what's going to be on point. So there's a character that's called Iron Lad, and then we find out later that it's a young version of Kang. And basically, the reason he traveled back in time is he met the older version of himself. The older version came up to him and was like, "Hey, listen, I'm Kang. I'm who you're going to be. We're going to conquer the world. I just need you to be aware of these things and be on the lookout for him." But and then he goes along with Kang and kind of sees what the guy's all about, this older version of himself, and he's horrified at what he's become. So that's why he travels back in past to help team up with the new Avengers and hopefully stop him from becoming this person and stop the future version of himself from, taking over the time stream. And then there's another great comic that came out years later where Iron Lad ends up eventually succumbing to his fate. It's like a cool miniseries where it shows Iron Lad throughout the years as he does eventually, despite all his efforts, turn into that version of Kang that he hated. It's a cool story. But yeah, that's a lot of people are thinking that Kang that we saw, that third Kang, is the future version of Ireland.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, that was again, this is starting to get a little.
Yeah, it's probably a little too in the weeds.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just too much, and I think it's not as interesting as what some of the stuff that was coming off of in the beginning of this whole MCU thing. Like, I just don't feel like these characters are as easy to grab onto as Tony and Steve and all them were in the beginning, and even Wanda when she got it. I'm talking all the way up to Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
The characters were just extremely easy to grab onto, and I'm
Well,
not feeling so.
the Kang
Kang is
Dynasty,
easy.
these Kang films, I think, are just set up for the Kang Dynasty. It's going to be an army of Kangs they're going to have to fight, right? I don't think they're going to be anything more than that one movie villain.
But they've said they're going to be doing a Thunderbolts and a Young Avengers, and they're introducing Riri, and well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm not really like. It's like these characters are starting to get. Kang is fine, like Kang, I'm all about. But some of these other things where it's like starting to, like, in 10 years, I'm not sure I'm going to be really grabbing onto all the lead characters in the MCU.
Well, Kate Bishop from Hawkeye is going to
Okay.
be one of the Young Avengers, right? So
Yep.
we met her, we met Riri, we met Wanda's kids, and then we might meet the Hulkling in Secret War, or not
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, yeah,
Right. Which that trailer for that looks really good. It
yeah.
looks like a Winter Soldier style trailer. So I mean, that's not what I was expecting from that, but it looks good.
We'll see how it comes. I mean, honestly, they've been dropping the ball more than they've been hitting it out of the park, so I'm not confident in telling you they're going to pull it off. I remember, like 10 years ago, it was like you would be like, "Yeah, man, I got these curtains out." I'm like, "Shut up, Bobo. It's Marvel. They never drop the ball."
Dude, I was
Yeah.
like, no worries.
Yeah.
This is gonna be badass.
Yeah.
I'll bet money it's gonna be badass. And now I do not feel that way.
Yeah, we get all sorts of reasons to be concerned. Mainly because, once again, writers don't have no guts, and I will go to the grave saying that. Like, this ending pissed me off so much, and it all goes back to terrible writing. That's what sunk She-Hulk. That's what sunk Moon Knight.
Now the writing in this is way better than She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
Well, that's a low bar, man.
But no, I'm way better though. Like,
yeah, but like,
it's
I'm
definitely
saying,
a good movie.
You
Like,
have one of the worst TV endings of all time.
Yes, worst TV shows of all time. But no, the ending was lackluster. I'll agree. Like I said, it was just the gravity that they made you think was going to be there, even with the line that said in the movie that was from the trailer. It didn't hit like you were wanting to hit, and it just sort of kind of stops. Like, I wanted somebody. Yeah, nobody died.
You just
Nobody
had to sacrifice hope. I don't understand how that hurts the bottom line. Like,
and it would have hurt. It would have hurt Hank too. You know.
Yeah, and that's the way you do it. You don't have to kill. Okay, if let's say Kevin Feige is like, "Hey, listen," or whoever was in charge, "Listen, we can't kill Scott. We got plans for him in the future. Why do you have to go the happy ending route?" To me, it's just easy. It's like, okay, we'll kill Hope, and we'll bring her back. Right? You're gonna bring her back. You don't have to kill her off for good. It's comic book movies. I don't understand why you can't do that.
MCU, the MCU fake universe, or MC fake universe. That's what it's called. Marvel Cinematic Fake Universe.
Yeah, so you can bring her back. Like, it's just, and also to tease that ending, to tease it and say, I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I mean, that's Chekhov's gun. Once again, I think I've mentioned that so many times in this podcast.
Right.
That's basically what it is again, right? They keep doing that. That is writing 101. That is the first day of writing school in creative writing.
Well, no, the problem is they were giving you something that they were giving you a line that happens at the very end of the movie. They were putting it in the trailer, turning that into Chekhov's gun, because Chekhov's gun is supposed to be something you see early on that they come back to, kind of like the ant flutters in Michael Douglas's ears. Right. But this one, they turned something that wasn't supposed to be Chekhov's gun into that by using it in the trailer.
Yeah. And then not delivering. That's just poor.
Yeah.
That's just
You're right
there.
But that doesn't make the movie bad for me. It just isn't real decent. That's what.
Yeah. You'll still have a good time. It's still worth seeing in the movie theaters, especially because the visuals really make it worth it. Go see it in IMAX.
Yeah, for sure. 3D if you can, but IMAX. If you don't like 3D, I get that. Some people it makes them sick, but
yeah,
definitely in IMAX because there are scenes shot for it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, man. I was gonna say I'm gonna. We need to do this one kind of right at the hourish time. So you think we can kind of do this Last of Us in 10 minutes?
Yeah, we could do that. What were your thoughts on the last couple episodes? Because we are 2 behind.
Yeah, so we are 2 behind, and that's my fault. It's been working my craze off. I definitely, first and foremost, let me just say, I love Ellie. I love her. Like, her character is just the way she plays that character, the way she comes across on screen. I love her. I just think she's great. Um, and I also love Pedro. Pedro
Yep.
is the man, dude. Like that guy is a bamf. Can't say enough good things about him. Definitely watching this show, I do really love it, and I think it's really well done. But when I do see characters, I know what's going to happen, because I'm familiar with the game, and they are sticking to the game pretty well.
Yeah, we got Fungus Hulk in at the end of episode 5.
Finally, we got the bloater, is what they
Yeah,
refer to it as. And yeah, I thought I had
I've
him.
had a couple bloaters in the morning after a night of some heavy eating. I did like that. That was because I think that's the people that are complaining about the show, which few and far between, rightfully
I
so.
haven't
This
heard
show
it
is a
much.
banger. This show is so far easily fresh rating, right? Real
Oh,
fresh.
easily.
But I think the complaint would be like, hey, I do want a little bit more zombies. You don't have to overdo it with the zombies like Walking Dead, but can we get a little bit more? And we got some badass zombies at the end of episode 5.
Yeah, but it was only what, 6 minutes worth?
It was
5, 6
still, it was a
minutes
nice
worth?
build. I mean, I almost, if I was going to put up a banner, which I forgot to do for this episode, I would have put the banner as it ends how it ends. That's that line that what's her
Yeah,
face says.
what she says
And
to
then
him.
right as soon as she says that, the bloaters hit, right? And
Well,
she ends how she ends.
oh boy. Now, and she definitely gets it. And they are kind of coming out a little like World War in a good way, like World War
Yeah.
Z style. They're just like, wow, they just
Yeah.
like run out of there. But yeah, when the bloater comes and gets out there and gets this old boy right here, that was extremely satisfying because he just rips his head off in the background. You see it like in the back. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved it.
One of my favorite scenes is when she's talking to him and she's like, listen, if you're going to tell me that my brother would have told me to forgive and forget, I know that and I don't care. And he was like,
he actually did tell me that when he was dying. He told me that.
Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, no, I agree with you. Let's kill these. I'm not going to tell you that. Let's go.
He's like, we're with you.
I like that's the little things that the writing in this movie compared to MCU is night and day. And it's little things like that make the difference where they make you think, hey, we're going to go the tropey way. And then they just turn it on you. And it doesn't have to be a drastic left turn to where everything jumps a shark. It's just little moments like that can make a big difference and make you appreciate the writing of the show.
I agree, man. And the way, for the people that aren't familiar with the story, that didn't play the game, when you meet these guys, you have such high hopes for them. And, maybe you don't because HBO's kind of method and the way they like to do things, but this is also they'll follow what happened in the stories. And anyways, it's just, did you see that coming?
Yeah, I mean,
and the kid.
Yeah, because that this show is all going to be about Ellie and
Gotcha.
and Joel. So you knew they're not gonna die. But I did appreciate the fact that they teased the fact that once again, hey, we could go this tropey way. If we really want to make it tropey, we'd have our blood cure him, and we wouldn't let the kid die. And I knew they weren't going to make that choice, and I'm happy they did. Even though I saw it coming, I was very happy that they went with that choice.
And this is like the third or fourth little kid zombie threat that you've had in this show. And I like that because that's even more terrifying.
They're like a bunch of Stannis Baratheons in that writing room. They're just killing kids left and right for their own benefit.
Hey, dude, if it works for the story, it works for the story.
Yeah, 100%. And the devastation of his older brother,
dude.
I would do the same way, man. If I had to shoot my little brother, he got zombified, I probably would just be like, all right,
dude.
There's no point in staying around.
And that was the way that was portrayed was so good because they didn't show you a close up. They just showed that blood pulling out more and more and more. And like that was just very well done because they would have showed you a close up of it. Not that it wouldn't have been effective, but it would have been over gratuitous in a sense that it would have almost like borderline, oh, look, they're getting off on the gore here. But just the same way as when they rip that dude's head off, they don't show you a close up. It's in the background. It's almost in the out of focus moment. But you see that it's happening. To me, that's genius and way more effective.
Agreed. You didn't get to watch the last episode, although you kind of know what happens because of the game, right?
I do know what happens in the game, and I've read up on some of the stuff, and I'm watching it with my stepdad tonight, but we can still talk about it because, again, this show has not necessarily been a surprise for me of what happens. It's a surprise to me of how they handle it on the show, how they translate it.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts after you watch the episode on the scene between Ellie and Joel, where it looks like they're about to go their separate ways because Joel, is worried that he's not going to be strong enough to make it and take her the whole distance. And he's got his self doubt. In the featurette, both the actors were talking about how they were really kind of like worried about the scene because they know that it's such a pivotal scene in the game, and they worried about doing it justice. And I thought they did a great job. Of course, I haven't played the game, so I would want to hear your thoughts whenever you get around to watching it.
Yeah, I will get around to watching it for sure. I do know that I I kind of have an HBO we trust mentality.
Yeah,
They just very rarely steer you wrong, and when they do, they know it and they cut the show off quick and they cancel it. They try to bury it.
yeah.
Uh, I just have faith that they're going to treat this right, and they seem to be really proud of it. So I'm very, going into it, I was kind of worried, like, are they going to do like True Blood, where they do it a little and then just go off the rails? And they might.
Speaking of True Blood, Tara's in this.
Yeah, I've heard
Totally
about
something
that.
I did.
And secret, by the way, not a secret, but I say secret because I've never talked about her before, but she's definitely somebody I've always had the hots for her.
Oh, dude, she's gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
So I'm
sure.
looking forward to see her in that. Looking forward to seeing old Adam Driver, who at first I was like, is that Adam Driver?
It's not Adam Driver, man.
I know it's not. I know it's Gabriel Luna.
Ah, damn, they don't all white people don't look like Bobo.
No, dude, right there, that looks like Adam Driver. Like it truly does.
Gabriel Luna, I got your back, man. You don't look anything like Adam Driver.
Dude, I love you.
You're
And
far less emo than Adam Driver.
look, you're more handsome than Adam Driver. I'm not dogging on you. Both you guys are handsome, but look, I'm just saying you reminded me of it right there.
Do you
But
think they're gonna do what they did in the Last of Us game in the second game? Where, spoiler for those of you that haven't played the second game, Joel gets killed early on in the second game. He gets killed by the antagonist. She beats his ass just to prove how big a threat she is, and Tommy takes over in the lead role. Because Gabriel Luna is a big name, at least relatively speaking, and he's kind of just barely been in the show. And so I wonder if somewhere along the line, I think the director said that, yeah, we will do that, but maybe not in the first two seasons. Or if that scene happens, it won't happen in the first two seasons. But do you think
yes,
he'll eventually take the torch from Joel?
yeah, I do. And I was honestly would not be surprised if they did it at the end of this season, kind of like they did Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. But for stretching it out purposes, I also wouldn't be surprised if they did it like at the end of the second season. I want them to do it though, because the second
that scene pisses off a lot of the gamers because they love Joel, and apparently he gets his ass just handed to him by this chick.
but the second game is, I think that was pissed off people because they just loved Joel.
Mhm.
But the second game is also regarded, the gameplay isn't regarded as high because it's kind of different, but it's also, the storyline is regarded pretty high.
Okay.
There's like some really good storytelling. So I think it's just one of the, there's a girl that I worked with for a long time, and she'd come back to me and, she'd just be like, oh, I hated that movie, talking about a certain movie. And I'd be like, well, why? And she's like, well, because so you love this person, you get attached to them, and then at the end they die. I'm like, but that doesn't make it a bad movie. That just means that you were upset.
It can, though.
But she was talking about something that was like a really good movie. It'd be like, somebody saying they didn't like Titanic because Jack dies. It's like, yeah, you're attached to Jack the whole time, but that's part of the story.
Yeah.
Anyways, and she would like come back and say, oh, that movie sucked. Like Logan. She's like, that sucked. I was like, you didn't like it? She's like, he died at the end. I was like, that's kind of what the movie was supposed to be,
Yeah.
So anyways, I just always thought that was funny. So for me, people dying does not take away from it. If it's unnecessary, yes. But I mean, if it adds to the story,
But it can, though, because if here's the thing, he's killing in that role. Pedro Pascal is killing in that role, and he's a big part of the reason people are watching. And so you take a big risk if you kill off his character and you can't keep it interesting.
Give us some time to like Tommy, though. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, Gabriel Luna, I got a lot for Gabriel Luna. Has just never been in anything great. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's
did
been
a great job.
He's never been in anything.
Yeah,
great.
He's been Ghost Rider. He did a good job as Ghost Rider. I actually enjoyed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's a very underrated show. When that show is good, it's fantastic.
I was about to say, it's like there's great episodes and there's bad episodes.
Yeah.
He was awesome as the Terminator. That movie just wasn't good.
That movie was
But he was good.
Trash.
There's a reason I didn't do a review for that one.
Yeah, that movie was horrible. But yeah, he was good. So I'm pulling for him, and so maybe that'll be a a positive. Listen, we got some other stuff we could talk about, but I know we're coming up on the hour, and you got to get going.
Yeah, I just got a dinner date, man. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna go watch this actually, see episode 6.
Pound
But
chicken pound type dinner.
no, yeah, with my stepdad.
Oh, okay.
But it's gonna be. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this episode and seeing how it happens. I'm seeing how far they take it with continuity, and if they decide to go off the rails or not, which I hope that they don't, because True Blood, that was what ruined a lot of it for me.
Yeah,
First 2 seasons great, then it just went off the rails.
I like the first season of Homeland. Yeah, I watched that entire show, but only because I was like, I have to see it through. It was like torture every week.
I want to do bad things to you.
Whatever.
Remember that?
Yeah, I still got to check out Interview with the Vampire.
The show? I think you'll like it.
Because I loved all those books.
Well, I want to see the Witches of Mayfair just because, or the Mayfair Witches, just because it's got
Alexandra Daddario.
Oh, baby girls.
Everybody loves her, man.
Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Even girls love her.
I mean, I think she's a great actress. I don't have the hots for her.
Ooh. Yeah, boy. I do. But anyways, I guess look, with that one being said, we'll call it a day on this one. We'll see you guys in a couple days, right?
Yep. Peace out. And if life gives you lemons, Bobo, you're about to forget your own saying.
Make some hot, fresh popcorn.
We out.
Peace.